I feel like my cats would fucking love this shit. They would go fucking
They
crazy.
use it on animals too, yeah. Alright, please, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as you're insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are you gonna talk about?
I have no idea. You pitched the idea. I'm really happy you did. Because in this space, now that it's home, I really wanted to like record here.
Okay, word.
I really wanted to have like this living room be kind of that setting, not like my room because it's kind of a bit simple.
Right.
But I wanted like each time somebody would come through, I want to be more serious about like filming now, filming the podcast here.
Yeah.
Because in college, while we were on campus, I was like, not only were we all always
busy.
Recording?
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, like we were always busy, but it's also like finding a space that I could be like, this is mine. This is mine, not mine, but like my space that I feel comfortable recording with others.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Word.
And I wouldn't always have access to like the Center for the Arts, or like I could do it in the apartment, but then I'm thinking like, okay, like what if like people constantly come in and out?
Right.
I would feel kind of like bad being like, okay, like, hey, I'm gonna use the apartment.
Right. Okay.
At this time, because I'm a bit more like nonchalant about things. I'm like, hey, you just like you were just saying, like, you want to do it? I was like, yeah, sure.
Right.
So that's the plan.
Okay. No, I get what you're saying. Like, I don't know. Like, I lucked out because through my major, I just had like access to a lot of those rooms. But I don't know. Like sometimes, like there was a small group of people within my major that like it just clicked. Things just happened. We just connected, and we were all on the same kind of page about how we went about things. Not like we had similar mindsets or anything like that. It's just like when it came to like, you know, using like the equipment in the rooms to our advantage and that kind of thing. Like we were all pretty much on the same page. Like, you know, if I missed checking out something, if I forgot to check out like a camera or something, and I needed a camera, and I knew somebody had it, and like I'd hit them up and was like, can I use it for this time, even though we're not supposed to, or whatever. Like, you know, we had like that kind of bond to where they trusted me enough to like for me to handle like a $2,000 camera in their name. You know what I mean?
Because we're talking about $1,000. You really got like over $1,000. You gotta feel comfortable, man. I would feel comfortable more than $10. I'd be like, bro,
exactly. Yeah, no, I feel like there's like that's what I'm saying. There was like a really small group of people.
You
we
had
trusted.
Trust.
Yeah, we trusted. We knew like we cared enough about the equipment and like how to handle it, and but because you know. Our department heads, like those people that ran all the equipment, they were just not nice people. They were, but at the same time, I kind of understand why they were the way they were, because this is really expensive equipment,
and it's also college students.
It's college students, like renting it out with like for almost no money, not including like the exorbitant amounts of fees that we have to pay, Like I feel like a lot of them, I feel like teachers and all these people, they think that like we're paying for exactly what we're getting, and I don't think that's true though. I feel like we're paying too much money for what is the information and the teaching that are given to us. Like it should not be this expensive. You know, like
Are you talking about fees, or
I think just fees, just tuition, like almost all of it. You know, because if we're talking like let's take all the gen eds, like not the major stuff, right? There's like some classes that like you can only get like proper education in certain schools, which is fair. But like the gen eds, like English 101 and like, you know, pre-calc and calc 1 and all of those classes, like whatever you're doing, you can that can be taught to you at any college for any low amount of fees.
Yeah.
But
Bro,
like,
that can be taught to you in high school.
it could be taught in high school.
Honestly,
Some kids,
like most kids that were like in that class, or at least from my high school, probably would have made those classes look like cake.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was happy to come from like a good high school where I was like, okay, this is a walk in the park. But it's like, why do I need it at that point?
Right.
Why is it a gen ed?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm not gonna lie, the professor I had like kind of changed. Like I'm English isn't my strong suit, but I had a really really good professor, and we were doing a fantastic topic on art throughout throughout the semester, and he had a very interesting outlook on like how to write, and it made me want to be a better writer. Where I was like, okay, like I'm paying for that part, like I can see that.
Right, but you were lucky with that.
I know.
You know,
I
like
know. That's
not
the thing.
right. Like
that's the thing.
On average, taking most people taking that class, like even if they all how many other kids were in that class?
Like 20.
How many of those kids like also got? Do you think would say got the same experience that you did?
Idea, man.
Right?
It could be 20. It could be just me.
Yeah, exactly.
But
the
variables, it's a small hand.
Yeah, the variables are so like it's so random. You know, like you don't know if you're gonna get a good teacher that's gonna actually have like a slight impact on you or not. Because like I had the same kind of feeling when I had my heroes English class. I had like this really young teacher and she was just like a cool person that was able to like keep everyone in the class engaged. But it was and then it just kind of got me more interested in English. But then like this last semester, I had the same kind of thing with this Islamic literature teacher. But like, I felt like at a certain point, I was just kind of being like pushed down a path that wasn't really for me, and I was kind of trying to force myself. At a certain point, I was forcing myself to try to prove myself in something that I didn't actually care about.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's a business all around. You know that they need to fill like teacher positions in order to even be in accredited school. Like it becomes a money game.
It's definitely a money game.
Even for people not interested in the subjects. So yeah.
Would you like a makeup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's interesting because I'm thinking about teaching. So you know, at some point in the future, and so I'm like, who am I teaching to?
I'd be down to teach.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the money that we're paying to the school though isn't really going to like the betterment of like student life or anything. I think it's just like on average it's usually going to the administration and like whoever's running the school and like just putting up more positions within the school that are really unnecessary to a certain point, and then not really focusing on like actually improving the lives of the students in any way.
Yeah.
Because my uncle went to school here, and like in the '90s.
Okay.
And I remember him like telling me about how he kind of went through it, and like the way he was explaining it, he was like kind of raised in that frat. Like the frat life was a lot more popular, like bands and stuff. Being in a band was like really like the thing.
Yeah.
Like he was in a band and stuff, but like
love it.
Yeah, but the level of change from that, which was almost 20 years ago at this point, 25 years ago, to where it's at now, I feel like nothing's really changed in the way that we treat each other, even though there's millions of dollars going into the school every year.
It's more money.
It's always more money every next year.
Yeah.
So like, where is that money going? What's happening with that? What are we doing here? Like, why are we paying such extra ridiculous amounts of fees? I think like the only real thing that I get out of it is just like connecting with people and like connecting with so many different people. But I don't think that we should have to pay that much money to be able to do something like that.
To be able to treat each other differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money's not going to do that necessarily. It might like provide those opportunities, but like you're already an established university, so.
Like I was
because it's like when you think about those fees about that equipment that you were just talking about, it's already been paid for, man. You're not really paying for that anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, it's also naive of me to say that because I don't know how a lot of things work. Yeah, but I mean, at that point where it's like things kind of started paying for themselves, and it's like you broke even and you're making money and you're exploiting people. At that point, it's like, all right, maybe we should change things up a little bit.
Right. Like I was watching like a Joe Rogan podcast with Jordan Peterson. And they were talking about and Jordan Peterson, he's a professor at I think the Toronto University, University of Toronto.
Right.
And I think he teaches like psychology and whatnot. And but he was saying how like the concept of like the university, the concept, not the university itself, the concept of what a university is has left the university and is now online. And that's a statement that he was like really like, it was hard for him to, he said it was very hard for him to come to that conclusion, but it was, because, as a professor at a university, to say that it's the university concept, the place where people come to like intellectually debate things, is no longer at the university.
I mean, I'm adamant to believe that, man. I feel like it's still there, but it's also online now. Maybe that might be more accurate.
Yeah.
But it's like when you are teaching, maybe it feels that way.
Right.
Maybe it feels like people aren't really in it for the concept of university, person to person, when they can get a lot of that information online.
Because I mean, like, think about like
people crave that interaction, man. Like if somebody were to be like, all right, bro, like, and I mean, this is my personality, so it's like, I can't speak for anybody else but me, but like if somebody were to be like, which they have, and you can get your degree online as well. Yeah. I'd be like, all right, no thanks, because I know me. Like,
right.
I want to be in there, talking to people and networking.
But see, like, so, I tried to, like, in the first couple weeks of, like, classes, what I always did was I just never said anything, right? So that way, like, if I came in, like, a day and I just wasn't feeling it, like, it wouldn't be weird.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't think otherwise of me. Like, wow, there's something wrong with him because he's not talking. So, like, usually the first couple of days I just wouldn't say anything. And then, like, but, like, that, like, what I've always noticed is that, like, on average, most of the classes that I've had, it's just been completely just silent. When like
bro,
the teachers will be talking, and they'll be talking about some interesting things, you know, like the concepts and like the programs that we're using in the classes and like all the things that they're trying to teach us. It's like really fascinating.
But it's dead silent.
But it's just dead silent. Nobody wants to say anything.
How do you fix that?
It's like,
how do you go about that as the professor? How do you get people engaged?
That's the thing, though. I don't think it's up to the professor.
Yeah.
I think it's genuinely up to the students, because like, I'm a person that like will ask questions regardless of whether or not anyone else is asking questions, unless I'm just tired of shit, which I am usually tired very often. But like, a lot of those classes, like sometimes I'll have the energy and I'll just like start talking, and then like the second like that one person just starts saying something or just starts going along with some kind of thing that seems somewhat interested in whatever's happening, then like other people start opening up.
Right.
So I don't think I think maybe it's the professor has to like figure out who is willing to do that, right? And just kind of like, I don't know, put the like a little bit of extra attention to that person, maybe.
I think the approach too, like, when a professor is kind of saying that they'll wait. You get that. Okay, like I'll wait for participation. I'm always kind of like, all right, like you're really doing this, but sometimes like that does get people like uncomfortable enough to just be like, all right, I guess I'll say something.
But I don't know about
it's not always the best strategy. When it worked like with one professor for me, but the topic was really interesting.
Yeah.
And some days, like, college students are tired, they're like, no thank you.
Right. Well,
but it did get people going sometimes.
I think that that's like a bigger thing that I think is an issue. It's like a lot of college kids are just always tired. Like they're always tired. Man. Like, I'm always tired. I don't even know why I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like there are times where I just have I have like 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I'll wake up, like have a shower, brush my teeth, do all the things. And I'll still just be fully tired.
But
like
you know what, man? I was talking about this like yesterday with Zenny, and I was saying I was talking to like a mentor of mine, and he was like, I might have mentioned this to you, how he was like, I just wake up when I want to wake up. I go to bed when I want to go to bed. But I work 24/7 at what I want to do outside of that. And I'd rather do that than slave away at 9 to 5.
Okay.
I'd rather work hard every single day of my life than do that. I don't know, that was kind of nice. And so when it comes to something like sleep, and being tired, yeah, like I do see that as a problem, like in college, because you're not at that point. Most students aren't at that point where they're like, okay, I'm doing what I love day in and day out. Like they're trying to find that. There's a reason you're in college.
Yeah.
But I think that's the goal. I think that's something to strive for, because then it's like being tired doesn't really matter to you anymore, because that's just a part of your life where you're like, I think I'll rest my head for a few hours. Zenny was saying, and I mean, this is a topic that like you can look up for yourself. Like, you don't, I don't know, some people like push the 8 hours of sleep.
All right.
And sometimes I'm more energized with 4.
Yeah.
If you've ever felt that. Sometimes,
I felt that.
And sometimes I'm just beat and like worn out with 9, 10. I'm just like, oh God, I could sleep some more, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think people have it pegged. I don't think there's an answer where a scientist are like, oh, get your 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, sure, to an extent. It's like, you know, your body heals itself. You get your REM. You go through your beauty sleep. But I think at a certain point, especially in adulthood, sleep starts becoming less important. You know? So.
That's fair.
Shoot, like I see old people, they sleep whenever they want, and then they're just up. And honestly, I'm not saying all old people are like it, but like they're like, I just don't feel the need to sleep anymore. You know what I mean? When I hear that, I'm like, okay, like use your time wisely, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like, I enjoy. I think this year, for some reason, I got like in that idea that like me being tired all the time is like a bad thing.
Okay.
And that I need to fix that for some reason. I never fixed it. I just kind of like kept doing everything that I was doing. But I realized I was just doing a lot of things, and it wasn't like, I don't know, like I don't remember when I transitioned, I think, from doing relatively nothing with my time to just doing a bunch of shit all the time with my time. Like, I don't remember when there was that transition at all. And I think like just I still have the same body from that time and now. And like, you know, it's not like I've done any extra work or anything. Or no, it's not like I've like developed this body any extra more. But it's just like the amount of stress is more.
Okay.
I don't really know if this is what I'm talking about.
No, that's fair though. That's fair. Because that's what we're trying to figure out, you know? My parents brought these mangoes when they came for graduation, and a bunch of other fruit, which is great because you don't get a lot of this kind of fruit up in Buffalo.
Right.
But they came packed. And like moving and stuff, I was like, I don't know, we don't really have a lot of room for all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, damn, I appreciate it for moments like this. So I'm like, that's a good mango or a watermelon or any other love they're throwing at me.
So, what I'm really interested in is like, I feel like nowadays it's like just more, compared to like back in the day, it's a lot more common for like guys and girls to live living together. You know, and I'm like, I'm like just kind of entering in this new age. I've never lived with anyone beyond the people that I've been randomly selected to live with, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm about to, like, hopefully soon enough find, like, my own apartment.
Yeah.
But I don't know who the fuck to get as roommates and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, like, your insight about, like, how this whole process has been of, like, finding an apartment and, like, with people that you trust and, like, you know, being able to stay with that. Like, I'm interested to how it came about.
Like, I'll speak from my, from my experience. It's been 4 years in the making, man.
Right.
You know, like, and, like, I'm about to say this joke, and they might snicker about it, but, like, I called this, man. I called this our freshman year where I was just like, man, we should live together. And, yeah, like, I would get, they trashed me a lot because, like, I never had my living situation, like, together until the very last moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it was late. Like, I remember hitting you up once, and I was like, hey, man, like, I might need a place to crash next year.
Yeah.
And I hit up a few of my homies because it was just the reality.
Yeah.
And, I ended up getting a place. But, yeah, to be honest with you, like we are living with girls, and, you know, two guys, 2 girls. It is a little, I don't know, I don't want to say it's different than, like, how maybe it used to be 10, 20 years ago, but society standards are a little bit better where, you know, people don't necessarily look at it as much of a weird thing anymore, especially when not everybody's in a relationship in the house.
Mm-hmm.
How we got to this point, it was just friendship and trust, you know, where we were like, yeah, I think we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never something that felt forced,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, maybe for your situation where you're, like, thinking about getting an apartment,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it will be another one of those, like, I'm matched up with, like, a random person. But
Oh, I don't think I would want to do that.
You wouldn't want to do that.
In the city.
Yeah, right.
That's just, like, dangerous. Yeah, like, I could actually die or, like, get kidnapped.
Bro, I was hearing the funniest story. I was reading this. I mean, it wasn't funny. It's kind of, like, tragic and sad. Nobody dies, but, like, the story goes, it was,
you
like,
found it funny.
It was so funny to me in the moment because I was like, I could see this happening to somebody.
Yeah.
Where he was like, yeah, you know, like, I got matched up. We started, like, renting a place together, like, me and 3 other people. He was like, yeah, like, my friend, like, started going to, like, demonic, like, type stuff, like, nightclubs and shit like that. And I was like, where is this story going? And he was like, one night, like, he just started freaking out. And it was, like, clearly not him. It was an out-of-body kind of experience. And he was in the kitchen at, like, 3 a.m., like, yelling, making all kinds of, like, all kinds of weird noises. And I was like, I don't know what I would do in that situation. He was like, the next day I was out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame you.
Right.
So I get that, man, because it is a dangerous situation. So
yeah,
I would my first step is, like, if I were considering getting an apartment in the city, I'd be like, who do I know? Also is in my situation and might, you know, need or want help, graduated or recently graduated. And yeah, I mean, I would start with that and then see if people already have a place.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because bro, you have a network, like, you know a lot of people, so.
Yeah, I just, like, I would want a room with people that I can create with.
Okay.
And make things with, you know? Like, I feel like if I don't, well, that's not a problem if I don't, but it's just, like, I'm the type of person to, like, invite a lot of, like, people, not over, I don't know if I would invite people over, but, like, things just kind of happen. I don't really know when things happen or things don't happen.
And you want it to at least be a comfortable enough environment where like your roommates aren't looking at you like,
they're like, why didn't you text me?
me?
And why didn't you let me know that this was happening and all that? I don't want to deal with that kind of thing, you know?
Like when you walk in and it's like it's already welcoming. People are like, oh shoot,
it's like, oh, what's this
on?
New How you doing? Like, what's up? Like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I that's like if somebody walks into my crib and it's like, if I wasn't feeling it that day, I just go into my room, close my door. Yeah, that's it.
And expect that to be okay. Not have have like people in the other room be like, is that dude alright? Like, who is that? Like, nah, it's just like,
yo, I'm just
how you're
trying to chill. Like, I'm not trying to. And like, there not be like any of that like weird judgment. And, like, that's like I feel like a hard thing to find. Like I would consider myself to have a big network, but like I don't know if all of those people
are gonna resonate with.
Are gonna resonate with.
Is it gonna be an ambiance?
Yeah,
is it gonna be nice, or is it gonna be kind of like, alright, we all do our separate things?
Right, because like I've had so many different roommates in the last 4 years, and like every year, almost every semester, it's been like just a random new person.
Yeah.
This semester has been like, I think, the craziest.
Really?
Yeah, this year.
Why?
For this, because it's like this frat boy kind of person.
Uh-huh.
I just like, I don't know. There was like, he was a good kid, but like there were certain moments where I was just like, why is this happening? Like I remember one time, he had like he'd always come back like almost from Thursday to Sunday, just every night, just drunk as shit every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even need to leave my like room to
That's
just
4 days of the week.
4 days of the week, right there, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah, and like the next morning, I go into the kitchen, just trashed, completely trashed. But like I never clean it. I was just like, he's cleaning this shit.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
the
my
problem.
business.
Yeah.
Right. And but I just remember, I think the worst thing that happened wasn't even something that he did. Right? He had like I guess one of his buddies that came through. And from this like going out and doing something crazy, and he was the friend was like knocked down on the couch, right?
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. And I was just up like till however late that I was up, and like from my room, like I have to keep the door open because I got 2 cats, you know, so it's always open. Like they have to like go in and out to like go to the bathroom and do what they gotta do. But like I was sitting in my bed. And I just heard like water pouring onto a table. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's happening right now? It's like, I know it's not the sink, because I know what the sink sounds like.
Yeah.
And I know what everything sounds like. I know it's not the sink in like the kitchen or the bathroom.
Right.
It's definitely not that. It just sounded, I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
And then like, I just hear it stop. I'm like,
Tell me he's pissing. I hope he's not pissing.
And I walk out into the living room, and this man's just like, if this is the table like in my living room, like, this is like a hallway. He's just standing like this, just kind of like going like that. Like, next to my table, like, away from me. I can't see what he's doing. I'm like, yo, I was like, are you good, man? It was completely dark. It was dark in here. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And he's just like, no response, no nothing. And I'm like, I tap him, and he just kind of like.
That's like, a horror story.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I turn the light on, it's just like a big fucking puddle, like all over here. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. I turned him around, and his like dick is just popping out of his waistline of his pants, and I'm like, what the fuck? I like push him onto the couch.
Yo, he's like, did I miss?
Yeah, no, I'm like, what the fuck? I come into my roommate's like room, and I wake him up, and he's like trash, but he wakes up, and I scare the shit out of him, and he's like, I was just like, yo, your dude just pissed all over the living room, and he was just like, what? And he's like, that's exactly like he has that frat like.
What?
They're like, what? What happened? What are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, your boy pissed all over the living room, man. Like, go figure that shit out. And like, yeah, he just went out there and just the kid was sleepwalking, and like, apparently this is like a common thing that happens, not just with that guy, with like multiple people in the like frat community, where like. I remember he was telling me a story once where like they were just at somebody's house, and like somebody who's just like passed out at one point just gets up and just starts peeing like in the living room.
Dude,
and I'm like,
that's
why?
Mother love,
like,
man.
why would you let yourself be around?
I don't know if it's like a natural sleepwalking thing, or like you just drank too much and like your body's like lifting you up and like, nah, you gotta get rid of some of this. Dude, I can't imagine getting up in the middle of the night, seeing some like random shadow that like I probably don't know. Yeah. Like that for me, like I'm not messing around with that. I'm closing my door. You had courage to like walk up to them and be like, hey, what's up? Like, what's good? No, I would have turned around and be like, no, that's a tomorrow problem for me, bro.
Dude, the only reason, like, normally I would be the same shit. Mm-hmm. If he was just like moving shit around or like doing whatever, I would have just been like, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
But like, it was just the fact that I heard there was water being dropped, and it was like, all right,
you're right.
He's either like he's either pouring something like all over, or he's peeing. Like that's it. Like there can only be one or two answers.
Right.
And like if I wait till the morning, then it's just gonna stink or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So I had to figure this shit out, and unfortunately, I had to see his dick, like just a tip, but like it was there, and I was like, yeah, yeah. But so like weird, like so my cats like I don't know what the fuck happened with them. Like at first they were potty trained, like they knew what the litter box was, they knew like I need to pee there.
Yeah.
The last couple months they just like stopped following like the rules.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, no, we're just gonna pee everywhere. And
they had enough of your shit.
They had enough
That's
of
what
that
it
shit.
was.
That's really what it was. Honestly, no, I'm glad. Like I'm just my cousin's taking care of them after like when I get back, because I don't think they like me anymore. Because I just stopped caring. Not caring. Like I still care about them, but I don't give them like the adorable attention. Like, oh my god, you're adorable.
Yeah.
Like
I
see them as like they're your little shits. Like,
yeah, that's also such a thing that's common in like the States, where it's like, unlike anywhere else in the world, animals are like praised.
Yeah.
And cherished.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm like, I don't know, like I met a person who was like very judgmental to the point where I'm gonna just say that they were like pretty racist.
Okay.
But they love their dog.
Okay.
They love their dog. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, how can you love your dog more than... I mean, who am I to question you loving what you love?
Right.
Like, you're really going to put a dog over a human life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I saw that and I started thinking about, like, the way, like, my parents also see animals and always, like, brought me up, like, with animals in a way where it's like, these are animals.
Yeah.
And we are human.
Right.
And they can be in our life. But nothing is ever going to replace that kind of bond. They can be there helping us and, like, emotional support, physical support. Heck, like, some dogs do better jobs than humans do.
Yeah.
Whether that comes to herding or, like, farm animals.
Right,
like,
right.
It's just the truth. But, like, I don't know. That was kind of a moving moment for me, like, in the States, where I was just like, wow.
I think
that was interesting.
I think the thing is, people attach, like, certain values to and like, the things that animals do, right? Like, they're like, oh my, like, to me, I know that, like, my cats or any animal, they're coming to me for attention because I might possibly feed them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might possibly give them something that what it is that they want. Because I can't, like, you know, they're definitely, I don't know, like, cats are definitely smarter than, like, most other animals, in my opinion. But, like, I think at a certain point, though, they're still just, like, they just want attention. They just want things to go the way they want it to go. They want to be comfortable. They want to be happy. Like, they don't, like, because, like, you know, there's I always remember, like, the stories of, like, how people will, like, die and, like, their cats will just start eating them.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, like, that's a thing that happens. Like, yeah, if you die in your apartment and nobody knows, like, your cat will just eat you.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, all right, then you really just don't give a shit about me. Like, so why should I give a shit about you? I'll still feed them.
Well, that's good.
But
yeah.
I'll feed them. I'll keep them alive. I'll get them their shots and their vaccinations and do all those things I was supposed to do. But, like, there's a certain part of me like, I care about you, but only to a certain degree. You know, that's why, like, I know I have to give them, like, to somebody else, because I think they deserve more love.
Yeah.
And all that.
Well, that's good, because you recognize it. You're not just opening the door at the end of the year and being like,
peace out.
Good luck.
Yeah,
good luck out there in the real world, you too. But you know what's crazy? I was reading one day and I read that they fall in line with the same menstrual cycle as their female owners.
Really?
That's nuts. I mean, it's true, like, human. Like, that happens with, like, women. Just women. But I learned that about cats, and I was like, I don't know, you were bringing up, like, okay, like, they just, you know, cats just want to feel comfort and to know that they're cared for.
Yeah.
Like, how far apart are we? Because I want that too.
Yeah.
I want the same thing.
Right.
And I don't know, it's just interesting. It's really interesting to learn stuff like that.
Yeah. It is. It's like such a, like, I feel like to a certain degree, like, we do have, as humans, like, animalistic traits that we don't recognize
anymore.
anymore as animalistic,
Yeah.
as instinctual. But like I think the second you kind of are aware of that
Mhm.
and like don't let those instinctual things control you,
Mhm.
so like to the point where you're not even thinking properly. Like I know some people where like they just let like their natural instincts or their like defense mechanisms or whatever it might be
Control
like,
whatever
control
they do.
everything
Yeah.
that they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, where they're just like either constantly afraid or constantly on edge or like
Yeah.
they're just expecting things to just go wrong,
Right.
essentially, at all times.
Right. Because I mean, a large part of like evolution was like being prepared for that worst case scenario.
Yeah, but
Being prepared for that tiger, but it's like, I'm sorry, bro, we don't live that way anymore. At least a lot of people don't.
yeah, it's not that bad anymore. Life isn't that fucking crazy. It's just like
At least how we have it, yeah.
yeah, how we have it here. Like we don't need to really put in that kind of. We don't have to be afraid like that.
Right. Right.
I think like unless the situation itself arises where like you should be afraid, but even then like I think you can still get away
Don't
with
let
not
that
being
dominate
afraid.
you.
Yeah,
Don't let that like take control of the situation.
because even like what does fear really do? Like what is its benefit? And what is the benefit in being afraid?
I don't know. I think a lot of people would be fast to answer like it would probably prolong my life to put me in a safer scenario. You know, that's what.
But
I
then
feel a lot
how
of people
how
would
can
say.
you really know that?
How can you?
Yeah, you can't know that like
But you can't know it won't.
you can't. But then that's just like it's just as like what's the word? Like it makes no difference whether you feel it or not.
Uh-huh.
It's like you can always go down one. There's such an infinite number of possibilities that like I don't know. I think I would rather live a life without fear
Mm-hmm.
and do things like just for the sake of just seeing what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Because like yeah, I don't know. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if like that. Like even if there is like a safer choice, right? It's like oh,
that might have
that
longer,
might have,
worse unintended consequences
Yeah, exactly.
than the other route.
You don't know. There's
Maybe
no
you're
way
just
to know.
ripping off a band-aid the first
Right.
way that might look bad. Maybe a lot of good can come of it.
Right.
Yeah, super fascinating to see how like people respond. But yeah, I don't know. People have like crippling anxiety when it comes to even like social interactions, where it's like I don't know how to like recommend people just like face those fears without sounding arrogant, without just being like exactly what we were just saying. Just do it.
I think
don't have that. Like, you can't just be like, don't have that fear.
Right. I think it comes from a lot of observation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can't like just meet a person and like within a day tell them like what's wrong with who they are. Mm-hmm. I've done that once, but that was because like it was my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Just like being relevant for no reason, and like I just had to confront him and be like, "Yo, you're irrelevant. Like, walk away."
Yeah.
And just kind of ripped his whole psyche apart. But like for the most, like besides that one instance, like, I don't like. I try my best to not talk tell people, you know, what I think they're doing wrong.
Mm.
You know, because I don't know like what they're like. Like maybe if I might be thinking that they're wrong.
Yeah.
But they might be thinking that's what's making them happy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I wait until if and only if like they come up to me and ask like, hey, I'm trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing in my life. I don't know if I'm doing this right or this wrong or anything like that. Like if they were to ask something like that, that's some like if they were trying to figure out things in their life, that's when I give my 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah.
I think that's the only
I mean in those scenarios, like what do I say? And it's all dependent on the person, you know, and what they're coming to you like. But it's just so interesting. It's up to them to kind of make those moves. You know what I mean?
Right. Like.
What'd you say to your ex-boyfriend or
my ex-boyfriend?
Your girlfriend's ex?
I
remember you telling me about that story once.
Well, to give a little more context, like,
Yeah.
so, I had been dating her, I guess it was, I would say February of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we were together in the spring semester of college, that spring semester, and then we, we hung out every now and then during the summer, like, and then came back to school in the fall semester for 2018,
Yeah.
2019, my senior year, our senior year. And then I remember, like, she had told me that like, her friend, who's also a mutual friend of his, had asked for them to meet up or something. And they met up, but like he ended up being there too. He kind of played a little game basically,
Okay.
where
he could get into it.
he could get in, like kind of work his way in basically.
Yeah.
And they started talking and all of that, and the friend left then, and like it was just them two.
Mm-hmm.
And like she would always be telling me how like when they would like he would run into her or he would like start talking to her, and he was like just basically trying to every single time he would just make a case for as to why they should get back together.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of that, and how like they were perfect for each other. And I think like he is very much a romanticist, like I've talked to him like twice, and the way that he kind of talks and he like carries himself, he sees the world in a very like romantic way, where he's just kind of spouting nonsense, and it sounds cute and like nice, but like when you look, it's his face saying it. It just feels weird.
Okay.
Okay. I think Zenny told me that you had actually met him at one point.
I did.
Yeah. So you know what his face kind of looks like, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with the whole romanticism way of thinking, but I don't think it's like all too realistic in terms of what love really is and like all of that. Like, I think like when I say romanticism, I'm thinking like
elaborate on that, right?
Like I'm talking about kind of like the Fabio like Spanish soap operas. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like that whole vibe.
That's not a picture, yeah.
Yeah, that's not real. That doesn't exist. As much as we would wish it existed, or I don't wish it existed. I think that's like still kind of dumb.
Silly,
yeah, but it's like it's just not real, and it's like low key very misogynistic. Like actually, I was, and I think like any of the Korean dramas, any of those drama types, like they all fall into the same kind of like that idea of romanticism, where it's like, you're just gonna bump into someone and
they'll sweep you off your
feet, and they're always gonna be there for you for every single thing that happens, so one way or another. And there's gonna be dramatic, and there's gonna like somebody's gonna hurt somebody, but it's all gonna work out one way or another.
Yeah.
That's not like how it is every single time, And then it's like it was clear that like it would for both of them, like my girlfriend and her ex-boyfriend, it was their first relationship with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like with this guy, I think he was kind of thinking like, oh, like he had such a good relationship with her, so this has to be it. This has to be the one true love kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was for her, like it was very clearly not.
No.
And she's a very like free flowing, like travel. Like I think she was just kind of like with him at a certain point, just for like, because she didn't know what else to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she wasn't not happy, but she wasn't like necessarily happy either. But she was just like, all right, let's do this. She's a very logical person, but that logical thing kind of like fucks her over at some point, because like if you like give her a logical argument as to why she should do something, whether or not she wants to or do that thing or not, like she would have done it. And I think that like when I first met her, that's how she was. I think she's grown a lot since then.
Mm-hmm.
And she like does make a lot of her own decisions, and she's like very smart and very strong, independent person. But like I think when I met her,
maybe more impressionable.
I felt like much more impressionable.
Okay.
Yeah, because she up until like we had met, like she never like smoked or drank or anything like that, and I was like, hey, I'm doing all of those things. Like, would you want to join? And she was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, anyway, so he had been like they had run into each other. That he had been hitting her up like basically since they had broken up, and they had broken up like right around the time when me and her started dating,
Mm-hmm.
and like he just couldn't get over her in like almost the 6-7 months that they had been apart.
Yeah.
And like so they were gonna meet up, and he wanted to talk more, and they were gonna meet up at the CFA or something, and like then I saw you that day, and we were talking, like right before that all happened.
Mm.
We were in the office at the SA office, and we were talking about something.
I had no idea. Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't like because I didn't know either, right? Because I was just like, me and her were supposed to meet up after like around 5 or 6.
Yeah.
After like they had that thing, but she was telling me basically that like they were still talking at around the time we were supposed to meet up, and I'd already left the office at this point, and yeah, I'd already left the office, and I hit her up and I was like, where you at? And it's like, we're still talking, and I was like, do you want me to come? And at first she was like, no. And then right after, she was like, actually, no, you should come through.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, word, cool. So I come in. It's like at the CFA. It's like, I don't know, like a random room. And I come in and I like look at this kid. And there was just like, I wanted to take my hand, just take his head and just slam it against the table. Like that was like my immediate instinct. But I looked at her and I was just like, all right, I'm not going to do that right now. But I could tell that he was just surprised of seeing me there.
Okay.
Like he was not expecting me to be there at all.
Yeah.
And
is that his like jokes I asked?
yeah, exactly. And so I sat down, and I don't think I've ever met anyone like this guy, because it's like I just felt so much pity for this person, because he just was trying so hard to be with this person for all the wrong reasons. You know, it wasn't like he knew that, like he just couldn't accept the fact that she was over it, and like that she's making her own decisions.
Connecting back into kind of his romantic outlook on life.
Yeah, exactly. Like he thinks that he deserves this kind of like person in his life, and that this is the life that he deserves, or whatever he's thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all about him. So like the whole thing felt like it was all about him, and it just didn't like I at a certain point I just kind of had to like break his entire psyche down, where it was like, all right, man, listen, you're just riding a whole wave of ego right now. That's all you're doing. This is a whole movie based on you and what you're doing and like what you want out of life, and you have no regard for anyone else. You have no regard for what she wants. You have no regard for who I am and what I'm trying to do. And like randomly, I'm telling him all this, and he was like, oh, I mean, I think we should be friends after this. And I'm like, what? No, dude. Like, and then I just continues to roast him. I was like, listen, the guys that I know, the people that I know, like the friends that I have, they're fucking cool. They're good people. Like, they're actually interesting, like, people that I can have conversations with, and I'd enjoy their company. You are not one of these people. You were just like a blip on just that just came up on a radar because like you just you're trying to make yourself relevant for the stupidest of reasons.
Right.
But you are not an interesting person. You are not somebody that I would consider a friend. And like, you know, I normally like I'm okay with talking to anyone, but I think like I will admit that I am like pretty like I will put people into categories, not of like who they are, but how close they are to me. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I think that's like an important thing to do, because if you kind of just like put everyone in the same like kind of like group as like these are all my friends. All these people are like really close friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's coming in that's gonna have a negative impact on your life. That's what I learned when I was in high school, where like I was just trying to be friends with anyone and everyone.
Okay.
And then there were just certain people that I was friends with that was just having such a shit. That was just like making my outlook on life and making everything that I was doing in life just super negative and just bad for my overall mental well-being, essentially.
Well, I mean, I feel like those are words of wisdom. Like, maybe you have to... That happened to me, like, this in college, like, a little bit later. And, I mean, a few times in the past, honestly, like, when I was growing up, where I had that mentality where I was like, I just want to be friends with everybody, and I didn't have those groupings. And I don't think I would say even now I have those groupings.
Mm-hmm.
But that lets you easily be fucked over.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's one of those things that you have to go through in order to kind of realize, like, okay, I do have these these sections of these people in my life for certain reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
like,
yeah.
I struggle with that because I thought like being a good person was being kind to everyone.
Right.
And like,
I mean, I think it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, because I think like not everyone. Like certain people, like their actions and the way they carry themselves, like where it's all about them, and like it's all about the shit that they're going through, and the world is like revolves around them. I don't want to give them the time of day.
Right.
I don't want to like let them make my life into something that is just
centered
like
on them.
A role in their life, basically.
I mean, the thing is, it's like even for people that are like bad, I would say. I think that people are bad for a reason, whether that goes back to like their childhood upbringing or whatnot. But sometimes the best way to like help those people in those scenarios is just with love and showing them. And let me elaborate before you, because I know you're breaking that up.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
But let me keep going because not you can't do that to everybody.
Right.
Like, you can't split up your time a day to like help in those ways. And sometimes the best approach is to kind of like break somebody's ideology down and let them know, like you did, kind of like, all right, bro, listen, not everything revolves around you.
Yeah.
I know it might seem that way now. And you broke them apart, but I wouldn't say you did that in like a rude way.
Oh no, I did.
You did?
I definitely did. It was to the point where I literally think, actually, I should probably hold back a little because honestly, I genuinely thought like this kid might actually go kill himself. Like I was like with the things that was coming out of my mouth. Like even Zenny was telling me like she was never seen me that mad before. And the thing is, I didn't even feel that mad.
Yeah.
Like
was there like a territorial part at that point
it was
like Zenny's like in my life now, bro?
No, dude. Like my thing was that she was her own person.
Yeah.
Like his whole argument was that like that she like she was like he was trying to convince me that like she had like some kind of evil in her or something.
Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck are you talking
Where are you going with this?
Yeah. And like I think is like a lot of people think that human beings are innately good, right? And I think that's too like a bold of a statement.
It's fantasized.
Yeah, it's too bold of a statement. Like there's too many things. There's too many variables in a human's mind to be able to like officially state that as like a thing that applies to all human beings.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like, and I think the fact that like he had been with her for however much time, and like whenever she was being selfish or maybe when she like wasn't like doing the best thing that she could have been doing in that moment, and got mad or whatever,
fixated,
fixated, whatever. Like he kind of assumed that was like evil or some shit.
Okay.
And like immediately as he said that, I was like, "What?
Then what are you doing?
Then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Like, who are you? Listen, man, she is a whole human being, and if she wants to be evil, she has every right to be evil. If she wants to be good, she has every right to be good. It is her decision onto who she wants to be and all of that. Like, it had nothing to do with like, because like at a certain point, I was thinking like, is this like I don't want to I didn't want to come off as this is like all right, this is my relationship, back off.
Yeah.
Like
Which
like,
is what like most people.
yeah, it's
I
what
feel
most
like,
people
do.
usually do, but it's like I could tell that this person just did not respect my girlfriend as an individual with her own rights,
Mhm.
and that's what got me mad.
Mhm.
Right? That's like I could like I've dealt with ex-boyfriends before, and like at a certain point they usually get it and they understand like okay like she's like and she's moved on, all that, like they don't try anything, whatever, things life moves on, right? But this guy was just like fixated on like this ideal like life where how do you know this person? Oh shit, you missed it.
Which one was it?
It was like a blonde girl, like braids, KT.
Chloe. Was it in like a Jamaica setting?
I think so.
I think her name is Chloe.
She wasn't Katie.
Pretty sure.
Okay, never mind. They're just like
Different girl.
maybe.
Is she a psych major?
No, she's like a dance major.
Oh, I do know her. Her name is Katie.
Okay, word.
Went to
Yeah.
Jamaica with her too.
Word. Is that wow?
That's when she got the braids. At least like at that
Okay.
moment in her life.
Yeah, no, because like I've like been in her apartment and
Okay.
like I know her roommate. Like we went to that was just weird that she came up. That dude, small world, bro. That's wild.
Katie's interesting. I didn't get like to know her that well.
She's a cool cat. She's funny.
She's
Really funny.
super funny.
She's really fucking funny.
Yeah, we shared a cool experience. I wish I would have gotten to know her and a few of the other people better, but it's like, what are you gonna do with 2 weeks in there?
Right.
You know. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Sorry, I've been like looking at all these pictures.
I feel like it's a good way to
Yeah.
have guests be like, "Oh, what's that about?"
Yeah,
Change
exactly. That's
subject.
a good thing to do. Yeah.
I'm happy. Good.
Yeah. But what were we talking about? Yeah, no, this. I don't know. I don't know how some of these guys the crazy part is I know for a fact he is not the only person like that.
Yeah.
You know, he is not the only guy. And like the thing is, Zenny's like a cool person.
Right.
She's like interested.
Yeah.
This guy is just not at all. And it's like, how can you not be able to like look at yourself in the mirror and be able to like I feel like I have a pretty good evaluation of where I stand in like the social
From a
spectrum.
third person point of view.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You can be like, look at yourself like
Exactly.
apart from yourself.
Yeah. Like I know like when I like there's just like levels of attraction. Like if I'm in a social setting and like I can tell when people aren't interested at all about what I want to say because of just how I look, right?
Sure.
And it's like, all right, that's it. Like I need to prove like if they're not interested, I'm not gonna try.
We're good,
right? Like that's it.
But I mean, you understand social cues,
right? But
there are people that don't. There are people that exist that have no idea, and like honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not always bothered by it because sometimes I'm really entertained by it.
Yeah, okay.
And I love watching like these people like interact, and at some point that's the only way you are going to learn social cues. But when you're 40, or when you're old, I'm just staring. I'm like, bro, come on.
like it's very like some people that don't get social cues. There's like a very like couple that like.
I'm trying to think of an example now, man, because it's always like small talk type of stuff where it's like clearly this like person that you're talking to is just not interested in what you're having to say right now, but they're still going and they're talking about research. They're like talking about photovoltaic cells, and they're like, "This is what I do," and you lost me at photo. I'm like, that's all I got from that conversation. But yeah, no, it's funny, man.
Yeah.
There comes to a point where I'm just like, you're just comical. Like,
yeah, right. Like it's just how have you survived this long?
People are trying to like run away, but like I don't know, they really latch on, and like poor souls just standing there like, whew, how much longer is this person gonna go on
for?
Yeah,
there's so many of those situations that
At what point do you just be like, I'm just not interested, or like, hey, listen, I gotta go. Like, I gotta walk my cat right now.
I feel like this year especially there've been more of those moments where I've just been like, I gotta go do this, and I had nothing to do. Like, but I just like it wasn't even like there was a bad conversation or anything like that. I just like wanted to be in my own space. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's this weird stigma around people like leaving certain situations. You know, like where if you're hanging out with people, right, and everything's cool. Like, no, there's nothing wrong, but it's just like that person just decides to not like want to be in that situation anymore.
Yeah.
And like they're like, yeah, I gotta leave, and then people make a big deal out of it for some reason. That's always like a weird thing. I don't know if that's like maybe that's like a child, like people that aren't mature enough, maybe, but I've just seen it every now and then where people just kind of make a like. It's like, you're lame. Like, why you gotta leave so early? It's like what I like about like me like talking to you and hanging out with you, is because like whenever I feel like I just want to dip, like I just want to. If we planned on hanging out that day or whatever, it's like I'm not feeling it today. It's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
And, like same thing with you and me. Like you call me and tell me that shit. I was like, yeah, dude, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
But then there's other people where like I'll cancel a plan or I'll do something, and everybody just goes fucking like wild about it.
Yeah, like, come on, bro, are you good?
Like what's good? Like, why, man? Like, let's
what's
go
wrong?
Get lit. Like, there's something wrong with you? What's happening? I'm like, nothing's fucking wrong with me. I'm just trying to like enjoy my time the way I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, bro.
Like I had this one time where I had like Darnell and I had Darnell and like another friend of mine at my crib. We were just chilling. I think I just made some food for them, and we were supposed to go out that night with like another couple of our friends, and we were chilling, and Darnell and my other friend, they were just like, I think they just decided like they just didn't want to go out with everyone else.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care if we went out or not. Like I just was down to just hang out. And but like the other kids that we were hanging out with, they're like a little younger than us, so they wanted to like go out and like go do stuff. And like they were sophomores, and I feel like freshman, sophomore year, you just kind of want to go and do some wild shit, you know? Like at that point, we're like coming into our junior year. We're in our juniors. Like you're just kind of like getting lazier and lazier as the weekends come and go, you know. But like they like the other person called the sophomores called. They were like, all right, well, this is the game plan, and they were like, all right, like Manu, you gotta talk to them, and like you know how to like calm people down, like talk to them nicely and like do all that. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And so I had to just I was put in a situation where I was trying to like get out of like not going somewhere, and because they put me in that situation, I was just like, oh yeah, no, we'll be there, and like I was just I was like, yeah, no, fuck you guys, don't put me in this situation. Like we'll be there, we'll have a great fucking time. What's gonna get lit? Like it's like why is it so complicated to just be like, no, I don't want to go out, like to the point that you give it to somebody else and like expect them to do the work.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I don't know. Like it's like
that's bad when you put it on somebody else.
Yeah, boy. That's like what is this? Like how old are we right now?
Bro, I wish I had a story likewise. It was more just like seeing other people's experiences, because like I think you and I have always just kind of like been at that point in our lives where we were like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Not feeling it. I'm gonna go do my thing right now. I'll catch you suckers later. like that kind of deal. Yeah. But then like hearing even close friends like my girlfriend like entering college and other people that I'm like really close to, and they like feel this social pressure around. Just like at the end of the day, you would have been more comfortable doing your own thing.
Right.
You would not have woken up with a hangover. You would have not woken up uncomfortable. Like I'm not saying don't do that from time to time, but if you're really not feeling it, don't force yourself to do something. And it's crazy that people give in. And I'm like, you can't coach everybody through life, but like I don't know. That's why I respect you. When you said those words, I'm like, bro, right back at you.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
it's always like when you're able to have those friendships where it's like you don't feel that judgment when you're on the phone and you're like, nah, like I'm like it's not happening, or like when you do get those phone calls and you're like, and like today you hit me up, you're like, I'm coming, I'm like, where, cool, this is good, and but if you would have called me on the way and been like, can't do it, I would have been like, all right, like I'll be here tomorrow, like I'm here for you whenever whenever you come through, like let's make it happen. So I don't know, I get those impressions from a few people. And yeah, that's something to value, in my opinion.
It is.
When you have somebody so comfortable with themselves, like Moshe is another one of those individuals that comes to mind where I'm just like, I'm like, bro, like the stars aligned, like the two of us brought together today.
He's just one of those guys that like we're just on. I feel like me and you, like we're on just a similar wavelength of like, hey, what's going on? Give me a hug, like. You know, we don't need to say a lot to each other. Yeah. But we just, he's good, I'm good, we're having a good time. Like, yeah, I like Moshe. Moshe's a good vibe. Like, all right. But like, have you ever had a bad alcohol experience that you would consider to be bad? Because honestly, I don't think I've ever had one.
No.
Right?
And I know there will be people judging who are like, Anthony, I don't know about that if they got to this point, but like, no, because I always put myself.
I don't think they got to this point.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. But like, I'm always one to put myself in the situation.
Right.
Where it's like, if it is bad, it's bad because I did it.
Right.
If it's not bad. I can't point a finger at somebody and be like, you did this to me, you motherfucker. Like. It's always me, so I guess maybe rarely like I let it get to that point where it's just like, oh, not doing that again.
Right.
But I wouldn't even say that that's bad because it just became part of that learning experience where I was just like, crazy night,
crazy fucking
not
night,
happening
guys.
Tomorrow, that's for sure.
No, I've only recently started drinking, but like if I do drink, like I just I usually go all out and like try to get drunk and like. But I do it very rarely. Like if I but sometimes I just have like one beer and all that. But like when I do get like really drunk, like I don't know what it is for me, man. Like, everything just feels like it works out, and like I feel like I just like I'm more hyper aware of all the shit that's happening, and it feels like I'm low key tripping at a certain point. Yeah. I think I've talked to you about this before. But like I don't know, all the things just kind of line up, and like. I just like know when things are gonna happen the way they're supposed to happen. I guess I don't know.
It's a cool like I don't know. I use the word uninhibited.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Like nearly zero inhibitions, where it's like things work.
Yeah.
Things are working.
Things are just working. They're just moving.
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty much I kind of experienced that as well, and it's interesting. I feel like I don't know, like you also aren't a big drinker, but it's like before college, tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like you probably like did drink. And maybe it was more familial.
Oh, absolutely.
And you were exposed to that at a young age compared to this taboo thing where it's like a lot of families here in the States are like, can't drink to 21.
Oh, I mean like my family was like that. Okay. For sure. They didn't want me doing anything.
Okay. What about in a familial setting?
Like, what do you mean familial?
Like, okay, dinner.
No. But, like, so, I would always sneak out.
Okay.
All the time. And I would always go places. And, like, actually where I lived, there was like, right in my neighborhood, we're surrounded by forest, basically, for miles on end. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. And there's this one part of, like, the forest that we used to call, like, the fire pit, right? And, like, if you go out there, it's just bottles and cans, like, for a solid mile around this, like, fire pit area. Yeah. So, like, ever since, like, the 60s, 70s, 80s, all those years, like, this place has been, like...
Somebody better go out there and make bank, bring some cans and get some 5 cents
on each one. No, you really fucking could. You could get, like, a good amount of money. And, it was just, like, you were, in, like, if you go from the fire pit, right, where it's in the middle of the woods, like, you would know, like, there was only one way to get there, and it was just through, like, marked trees by spray paint, or, like, you just have to know the woods, essentially. Okay. But, like, and this was, like, right, basically, in my backyard. Yeah. I just like I didn't know about this thing that like I think like after the '90s like it stopped being like the spot to go to.
Popularized, yeah.
Yeah, because like technology and all that shit happened.
Sure.
So, but like the kids that lived in that neighborhood knew about it,
yeah.
but the rest of the town didn't know about it.
Yeah. So yeah, paint the image for me at nighttime, like you and some other cats would like go out in the forest.
So I remember like, I was like the youngest person in this group, right? Mm-hmm. So like everyone else was in high school. I was in like 7th grade, and like they just liked me. I don't know what it was. They just like fucked with me and my vibe, I guess. And I just remember I wasn't there when they did this, but like there was a teacher, one of the middle school teachers that lived on our street, right? Mm-hmm. And she was like, in school she was kind of a bitch, but like in our neighborhood she was like really nice. Mm-hmm. But I just remember like, I remember going to the fire pit with them at one point, and there was just like, they had so many bottles, like ridiculous amounts of bottles, and I was like, what the fuck, where'd you guys get all this shit?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no, you know Miss Bartlett, like down the street? I was like, yeah, she like always leaves her garage open, and like she just had a shit ton of bottles, and we just grabbed all of them and just brought it, and like and then they just had like a little table set up. Dude. I remember the first time I think I did.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It was fucking ridiculous, and like they would make like alcohol candy somehow.
Okay.
Or like like the chasers, like not the like the Sprite, like actual fruit chasers or whatever. Uh-huh. So they would like put that in a pan and like wait for it to fry. Solidify, and it would turn into candy. And like you'd eat that shit. I was like, what the fuck? These kids are wilding. But yeah, we just go out there and like when I remember like
you can make some teriyaki sauces like that with sake.
Yeah.
You boil it out.
Okay.
But I'm like, I don't know how much alcohol is left in that.
Yeah.
Kids are crazy, man. They'll do anything for a fix.
But I remember one time, like one of our friends, like their family was throwing out this couch.
Okay.
Right, and we were like, "Yo, this would be great at the fire pit."
Uh-huh.
Keep in mind, the fire pit's like a mile out. It's deep out into the woods, and like you have to go down. We had to like go down this entire hill first. Like that's like to get even over there, because like there's like our entire street is like a circle like this, right? And then there's just the woods, like all of that basically, and that's where like the fire pit was like right around here. So who is this? Like, who is this person?
Oh, that's a girl named Shayna.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my first photo shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just okay.
She's I mean, I don't really keep up with her anymore, but it was a fun photo shoot to kind of like learn to direct people.
Okay, yeah, because I was like, that seemed like your earlier work. You know what I mean? Yes. Like something that's
part of me wants to delete that folder.
Yeah. I feel you.
I don't know if you've ever gone through your work and you were just like, oh, this has got to go.
Dude, there's like, I remember I did like a whole photo shoot for that girl Riley. Mm-hmm. And I just
didn't like any of it.
I didn't like any of it.
Yeah.
I just I never messaged her, I never sent her any of it. Uh-huh. I just was like, this is all trash.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do anything.
Bro, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
If you don't feel comfortable enough like putting that work out, just delete those photos.
Yeah.
Clearly, I didn't know it back then.
So yeah, I would just.
You guys got the couch.
Yeah, we got the couch, and like God. I remember we like had to ride it to like the top of the hill. So there's like a hill. There's a circle, and like there's the woods, and then there's like this hill that's on this like road, right?
Yeah.
So we got to the top, and there's a path that goes to the top of that hill to the fire pit. Uh-huh. But like that path is like on the property of one of these houses.
Okay.
And the dude just wouldn't let us like bring it in.
Okay.
He was just like, no, like you can't bring that couch into the woods.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was just being a dickhead. So the only other option, there's only one other path, and it was at the bottom of the hill. So we just put like skateboards like underneath the couch.
Rode it down.
We just rode it down. And it was just like one of those memories that you can only have like when you're a kid.
When you're a kid, man. Yeah. Because honestly, when you're an adult and you're doing that, it's like I hope you can have fun with it, but like I personally would be like, why am I doing this right now?
What have I done in my life?
At least as a kid, you're just like, oh my god, like you won't believe it. We made a rig. We put
Exactly.
skateboards.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can openly talk about this because since I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel embarrassed talking about it.
Yeah.
This is a cool thing to do as a kid.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got down there. I think we got it like not even like we got it like into through the house, one of the like the houses into the forest, like almost like 30 feet. And then we had to drop it. Like we had to drop it because it was so fucking heavy. And like we were at that point, we were so stupid. We could have taken there's like mattress, like a pull-out mattress inside. That's what made it so heavy.
Right.
But we're not thinking about that. So like we just kept all of that in there. If we had taken that out, it would have just made it so much easier. But we were just dumb. But like we were so tired at that point, we had just carried it all that way and then rode it down, did all the things. So me and this other kid, he's like all these kids are older than me. He was like, all right, I'm gonna take him and we're gonna go like spray paint like the trees because like this path was a little harder to get to. So we spray painted the trees like to get to like find where he was at, and like we got to the fire pit and there was like this senior and his girlfriend that was there at the fire pit. And this dude's like just fucking brolic as hell. And we saw him and we're like, oh shit. We ran down. I was like, yo, what's going on? And he was like, what the fuck do you guys want? And he's like, yo, it's a senior. It's like one of those things like, who are you? What the fuck is happening?
Right.
And he was like, yo, we got a couch and we're trying to bring it here. And it's like so heavy. It's like, a couch? And he was like, yeah. Alright, that sounds pretty dope. I'm gonna help you guys. And so he comes over, literally like picks up the entire like side of it by himself. With like he's like, yo, this isn't even that bad. You guys are fucking pussies. And I'm like, alright, whatever, man. And like we bring like after he picks this up.
You're like holding it.
Yeah, we're like I'm like,
you got it.
You got it. Like, I don't need to do shit. Like, I'm the smallest, youngest guy there. I wasn't doing anything in the first place anyway. But yeah, we brought it over there, and like it was just like a whole vibe. Like it was out there for a couple months at this point.
Yeah.
And
I thought you guys were just gonna leave it.
No, we did. We just left it there.
No, I thought it was gonna be like permanent. No, leaving it at the first location before bringing it to the camping site.
Oh.
And being like, let's make a new.
Nah, dude. We fucking we did it. We brought it all the way there, and we would just be drinking. Like if it started raining, we'd go out there, put a tarp out on it, and all that. But I guess like that one dude that like stopped us from going down that property in the first place, he was just like, yeah, no, you guys gotta get that shit out of here. I'm gonna call the cops. And we're like, all right. So we decided to like, we decided to burn it on Halloween.
Okay.
It was Halloween in 2009. Yeah. And I remember like, I was late because I was like, the Halloween was on a Sunday and I had to go to church. And so we were driving back and like the road, like if this is the circle, right? And like to get on the highway's like over there, right? And like you have to come down this one road to get onto our street. And if you go down this road, you have a perfect view of this entire forest, right? So I was coming down this road and I looked over it and I just saw a huge cloud of smoke coming from like where the fire pit was.
And you knew.
And I was like, ah, shit's happening. So we got there. I ran there.
Yeah.
And like we're all chilling, everything's going cool, and this one kid, he grabs a rake, and like it has just like a bunch of leaves on it, right? And he like lights it on fire, and it's like fall now, right? So there's like all the leaves are on the ground, so he just chucks it into the woods, and like everything starts catching on fire. And we're like, oh shit, we should probably leave, and we left. And it was Halloween, right? So we just started trick-or-treating. And then not even like 15 minutes later, the entire street is just filled to the brim with fire trucks everywhere.
Gosh.
And the entire, like this is a huge forest, man. This entire forest just started like fucking forest fire going crazy.
Dang.
Yeah, and we just like,
We were just trick-or-treating after that.
Trick-or-treating, man. Just walk around, like, doing what we do.
Oops. Did I do that?
Did I do that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine, man.
Oh, man. Shit was funny. It was funny stuff.
Dang. I wish I had a childhood story like that. Like most of the stuff in like the Midwest is like you do with what you have. If there were any fires, it was just like they were ginormous because we were like burning like trees down and stuff we chopped down for like wood, and I was like, when I saw buddies doing that, I was just like, you guys are crazy. Like, but a couch and a forest fire, ooh, ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. We would just do dumb things because it was just like, you know, you're in a small town like suburbia New York, like
you gotta work with it.
You gotta work with what you got.
Yeah.
Like, do what you can.
Yeah.
And try to have fun.
You were the cool cat though. You were in 7th grade.
But see, here's the thing though. Here's the thing. With all the older kids, I was cool. Right?
Oh, with your group?
But with my age
Not
kids,
so
they
much.
did because they don't know the shit that I'm doing with all these older kids.
Yeah.
You know, they only see like the kid that they've grown up with.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, I think when
Manu, what'd you do this weekend? I went to the campfire spot with some high school kids. Yeah, I mean, they don't hear about that, but that's funny.
That shit. Yeah, and like, honestly, throughout almost the entirety of high school, no one knew that I smoked.
Uh-huh.
Even though that was like, I didn't really drink ever, but I smoked occasionally in high school.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even say I did it that often. Like, I did, like, senior year, I was smoking, like, almost every other day. But, like, it was, I don't know, I feel like during that time, it was such a, like, you had to be super low-key about it when it came to, like, smoking, or, like, when it came to drinking, it didn't matter. But, like, smoking weed, like, you had to be super low-key. But nowadays, the shit that I'm hearing, it's crazy, bro. Everyone smokes. Everyone has,
if you're not,
you're fucking weird. Yeah, you're fucking weird. Like, like, they have, like, the dab pens. Bro, that changed the game.
Yeah.
Like,
you'll be in class.
You'll be in class.
You'll be in class, man.
Oh, the jewels and the dab pens will be hitting at the same time. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's, I have, like, so many nephews and nieces, right? And they're all telling me, like, yo, like, kids would be greening out, like, in the middle of the day. And, like, just, like, passing out because they smoke so much weed. Because, like, you know, these dab pens, like, you're not supposed to be hitting them more than, like, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, right? Some of these kids, like, these dab pens should theoretically last you, like, at least 2 weeks, right? At least. And I'm not saying it lasts for me for 2 weeks, but, like, you know, if I have a dab pen, if I get one, like, they usually go out, like, in a week or so. But some of these kids get through them in, like, 2, 3 days.
Dang.
And, like, that's a lot of weed that's going through your system at such a such a short given amount of time. So, especially at such a young age,
that's
too.
awesome that you can keep up with, like, nieces and nephews, though. Like,
oh, yeah, no, all the time, yeah. They tell me all this crazy shit, man, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, how are you even, like, these kids are selling, like, if I really want to get, like, a good dab pen or, like, a good bud or anything, I can hit up these high schoolers.
That's
and, like,
nuts.
That's crazy. Like, that's such a wild concept.
Yeah,
Because, like, I remember when I was younger, right, and we were trying to look for bud. Like, you'd have to go to the sketchiest dude.
Right.
That, like, you had no idea whether he might just pull out a knife and just stab you or something.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had no idea. Like, I still have to run into those guys every now and then.
Yeah.
But, like, nowadays, it's like the kid in your, like, 7th period math class has, like, the best deals for you. And it's like, what the fuck is this world come to?
Where'd he get it from?
Where'd he get it from? It's like...
Yeah, man, imagine what it's going to be in another, like, 5-10 years. Like, times change, and it's just funny. Yeah. Funny looking back on that point where, like, you were at. And, like, the things you would have to go through to do the things you wanted to do. And now it's like, it's celebrated now, and it's so easy, and you're like, you don't know, man. You don't know.
You don't know shit.
Oh, man. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't have, like, any nieces or nephews yet, so, like, I can't. But when I do, I'm going to be, like, 40.
Yeah,
and so then I'm going to be like, what? Like, I'm going to have missed out on, like, 2 generations of, like, kids.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm really lucky with having these kids that fill in the blanks for me, you know? Like, because I think, like, when you have kids, And I think the biggest issue is that like when people have kids, they don't realize like realistically how much of a difference there is between their generation
when they grew up
and how
and
they
when their
grew
kids
up.
are growing
Yeah,
up.
they don't realize that those little increments, even though like they've been alive this whole time and they've seen how these kids are, they're like, oh, these are kids. People don't realize like how some of these generations think
Yeah.
and how they process information.
Yeah.
They are different. Man.
Okay.
These kids are fucking different. They're like on a whole other breed because they've never. It all comes down to like how accessible technology has been to them.
Yeah.
Like it's from day one.
Yeah.
Like we grew up. We had
kids.
flip phones. Like we didn't even have phones.
Man, at flip phones at like when we were like in high school, there was still flip phones like end of junior high for us when we were like 11, 12. Then like a first touchscreen came out. It was called like the chocolate slider.
Right, yeah.
That was just becoming
that was
a thing.
The biggest thing,
like around
the
like,
razor and all that shit.
Yeah, man. Like we were old enough. We were like 12, 13.
Like we watched that whole transition happen.
Right. So, we were the guinea pigs in between, where it was like, okay,
like we were the generation where they like the rules that they have towards using phones in class and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're the generation that applied to.
Right.
We're the ones that like that became a thing in class. That became something that was relevant.
Yes.
Before that, it was not a thing at all. Like, but you know, those rules were already in place by the time these kids got into the schools.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've already figured out ways around it.
Right.
You know, they got like the watches now.
Yeah.
Like my niece, my two nieces, right? Like their dad's like a super techie kind of guy, right? He's a really cool guy. But he's like super high tech. Like his whole house is like Google operated and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can turn on and off everything from his phone, basically. But these two kids, you know, they have like the Apple watches, or I don't even think they're Apple watches, but they're like watches, smart watches for kids that like they can make calls to their parents and their friends and do things with that, and like they can, you know, their parents know their location and shit. And, like it's just. It's insane. Like they know how to work it, they know how to do all the things, and it's just wild. Like the way.
It's like you said, from day one, it's there.
It's there.
For us, it was like, all right, midway through life.
Yeah, exactly.
At least like at this point in our life, midway through.
Like think about like, cause you know I think we're still we're kind of on the fence when it comes to like technology versus nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I remember nature. I remember being like in that, doing those things.
Submerged in it.
Submerged.
No thoughts on notifications.
Yeah, nothing. Just
phone's
like
not even on your body. It's back home.
Yeah, creating like an entire fantasy world
in
like a forest or like in a field somewhere, just making up some random game to play or something.
Right.
You know, like that's still
that imagination.
Yeah, that imagination was there. It still exists. Nowadays, I don't think it's there as much.
Yeah.
Because it's like
I'd be inclined to agree with that.
Yeah, because it's like okay, like
now you're feeding off the imagination of other people that are electronically connected.
Yeah, because if a person's like watching YouTube videos and they get bored with the current YouTube video that they're watching,
just go to the next one.
Yeah. It's a whole recommended list specifically made
geared for you.
For you and what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So you're gonna find something that you're gonna want to watch.
Right.
And you might honestly even watch something you've already watched.
Mm-hmm.
The craziest thing to me are the people that have watched The Office like 20 times. Like.
Dude, I can hardly rewatch one thing another time.
Right. Like, I don't get, like, I get it. The Office is hilarious. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, you know, I'll see, like, those compilation videos on YouTube, and, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
But, like, there are people, like, you know Billie Eilish?
Yeah.
Like, she has gone on record for watching The Office, like, 13 times.
That's nuts, yeah.
To the point, like, she had, like, an interview that happened with what's his name? Dwight. Like there was like the actual actor.
Oh,
himself.
Okay.
Like they had an interview with each other where he was asking her questions about The Office, and she almost got every single one right.
Yeah.
Like random questions that had like you couldn't. I watched it once and I couldn't answer any of those questions.
Mm-hmm.
But like that shit is just wild.
Yeah.
And she's like 16, you know, so she's like right there. She's right in that age where. So if we were in like, what, junior years? No, not even like freshman. I want to say. No, I know. No, I remember the first iPhone came out when I was like in 6th or 7th grade, because I remember one kid in our whole school had it,
Yeah.
and then like he was the only kid that had it, the phone.
Okay.
So it was 6th or 7th grade, and so
Yeah, we were in
14.
junior high.
So she was like 9 or 10 when that
She
all
was
started.
8.
Yeah, she was 8. She was 8 years old when all that started happening. Which is
Yeah.
like, yeah. So she didn't have like, you know, besides school, like the kids that are like 8, like don't really have like too much of a social life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I think it's like as soon as you get to middle school, that's like when you start like doing things outside of school with people, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
It's fun to see where generations are going, man.
Yeah.
It makes you think.
Makes you think.
I'm gonna pause this one.
Yeah.